Hello, I don't quite know what happened there. We just had a little technical glitch. Facebook just cut out on me. Sorry about that. I hope you're back. I hope you can make it back. Okay, so we were about to do the basic breaths. We'd worked on the cocoon, drawing the cocoon up from the bottom up to the top. Feeling the golden spiral from the bottom up to the top. Hello, David. Welcome back. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Thanks for coming back. All right. And so feeling your body, feeling the energetic system, feel the cocoon around the body, feel the golden spiral coming up. And you're connecting with your feet into earth and water. You're connecting with your hands into fire and air. And we're going to start off with the 4 basic breaths, keeping track of the cocoon and the golden spiral. All right. And dropping down. And curling up, filling up the lower back, middle back, upper back, drawing the elements up the body. Feel like you're also energizing the cocoon and the spiral as you send the energy up into the sun. Purify it, energize it. And then exhale. Cleansing breath, so 7 forced short out breaths on the way out. Again, feel the cocoon, feel the spiral, feel the elements you're drawing up through the feet and the hands. And standing, feeling your body. And rejuvenation breath. So tapping with your fingers and then cupping with your palms as you hold your breath. And breathing in. One more time. prana shake. And so when you do the prana shake, you're shaking your own body. Get the cocoon and the spiral into it as well. Shake up your energetic systems as well. And now, when we first learned to do this, our teacher really encouraged us to make the shaking vigorous. Please be careful. Really take care of yourself. Don't overdo any kind of action here. But just so that you get a sense of the range of what you can do, you can be sort of within a narrow range of motion. And then the more extended version is when your hands go out, they uncurl. Your head is sort of like reaching back a little bit. And then when you come in, the hands curl in and the head comes down to meet it, as it were. It's like, you know. And so it's extending. And so there's a bit of a pulse. Why? The pulse is kind of neat because it gets the armpits into it, it gets the lats into it. You feel energy pumping in and around the chest, the heart, and also up into the back of the head. And so it kind of gets the area that the cobra cares a lot about, which is the hood up in here when you're doing this. But it also kind of invigorates the area of the tiger, the heart area. So be careful for yourself. Only do as much of a range of motion as you feel is comfortable and suitable for you. And at a pace that is appropriate, so not too fast, not too slow either, and also at an intensity that is appropriate to you, not too hard, but also not too soft. All right, so breathing in. Oh, and I forgot. So, as well as the wrist action, as the head action, there's also heel action. It's kind of reminiscent of Python when you slam the heels into the ground to pack energy into the marrow of the bones. But when you go apart, when your wrists and your head go apart from each other, you come up off the heels. You peel the heels off the ground, and then when you come together, you bring the heels down into the ground. And what you're doing is very much like Python. Don't just slam down. Try and feel the energy climb up the bones and climb up the spine and travel through the head and out the top of the head. Don't give yourself like a neck. Don't let it pinch in your lower back. Don't let it pinch in your at the back of your head. Let the vibration of the impact travel through your body like you're a tuning fork. Okay? Now, so do as much as you feel comfortable doing. All right, and breathing in. And then exhaling. And breathing in. And then exhaling. And good. And then stand, feel what your body feels like. All right, I'm just going to check the scroll here. Hello, Pamela. Thanks for joining us. Hello. Hello, John Paul. Nice to meet you. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's the basic breathing. And we've done right. So let's get into the celestial dragon. Let's start off with the bow. We'll get into that. So with the bow, the way that it starts off is with the snake into the cat. So it starts off with the cobra into the white leopard. The cobra represents psychic awareness. It's about perceiving energy. It's about refining one's perception so that you're sensitive to other people's energies, and also to those things, those kinds of events in our lives that are sometimes transcendent of time and space. So these are the kinds of premonitions that you have about somebody who's dear to you. Perhaps they get sick or pass on, and you suddenly get a sense of them. Those kinds of moments. You get a flash sometimes, a little insight, a foreshadowing of what the future holds for somebody in a little moment, a brief little spike of insight. So this is what the cobra perception is like. And the cobra represents the nervous system, and it's the quality of motion is a little bit teeter-tottering, as if it's trying to decide which plane of existence it belongs to, the real physical plane or the transcendent, alternate, energetic, psychic plane. So it's there, it's kind of drunken a little bit, teetering and tottering, and you're focusing on the nervous system, the tip of the tailbone, the back of the brainstem, and the third eye, and the hood of the cobra. So have that feeling for a moment. And let's do the bow. The bow for the cobra consists of 3 short sipping in-breaths. First in-breath into the tailbone, second into the brainstem, and third into the third eye point. And then the exhale, as your hands describe the hood. Okay? I might as well keep going with the description. So that's the cobra portion of the celestial dragon. So you start off with cobra, 1, 2, 3, form the hood, strike, exhale, and then when you get to about throat level, leopard, throat, you do the leopard bow. You exhale, and then we do the triangles. So it's triangle at the tip of the tailbone, triangle at the throat, triangle at the third eye point, and triangle at the crown of the head. And you do all 4 triangles. The other dragons, they have 2 triangles, but they're not celestial, they're not cosmic. This dragon's special. It's a very special dragon. Okay, so let's get into it. So you have your cobra fangs, your index finger underneath your middle finger, and you drop down. And sipping breath. Oh, I forgot to mention. Touch the throat, because it's celestial. Third eye. Back of the brainstem. Then the hood. Form the hood. Exhale. Right about here at throat level, start the leopard bow. And then exhale. Triangle, turn the feet out. Triangle at the tailbone. Turn the feet in, triangle at the throat. Exhaling. Turn the feet out. And then turn the feet in, triangle at the crown of the head. Good. One more time. I forgot the throat thing. Sorry about that. So, you're breathing in, tip of the tailbone. Breathe in, sipping breath into the throat. Breathe into the third eye. Breathe into the back of the brainstem. Form the hood of the cobra. Exhale. Start to exhale. Continue exhaling. And then leopard. And then exhale. And then bring the triangles. One at the tailbone. one at the throat, one at the third eye, one at the crown of the head. So that's the whole celestial dragon bow. Let's do it one or two more times to get the moves and to be comfortable with it. And we'll talk a little bit more about the texture and, what's the celestial dragon good for? Huh, say it again, all right? So, exhale. Feel the cobra. Tip of the tailbone. Throat. Third eye. Back of the brainstem. Form the hood. Exhale. Whoops, all right. About here, and exhale. Triangle. Inhaling at the tip of the tailbone. Exhaling at the throat. And then inhaling and exhaling at the crown of the head. And dropping down. Okay. Let's let go of that for a second, and we'll come back to the bow in a moment. Let's talk about the celestial dragon. So the celestial dragon represents, we didn't talk about the leopard much, we'll get to that in a bit, but the dragon overall lives in the territory outside of the Earth's atmosphere, out into the rest of the cosmos. We're talking like black holes in space. It flies, between stars and planets in the dark outreaches of cold, empty black space, and travels in through black holes and comes out the other end. So that's the kind of realm that the celestial dragon represents. It represents the outer reacher, the most outer reaches of our transpersonal consciousness, our transpersonal experiences. So this is everything from ESP to being able to see your reincarnated lives. This is being able to be conscious of psychic signatures, the heat traces of intelligence of other living entities. So this is what the cobra and the leopard are about. So this is the kind of mindset that you have if you've ever been into Tibetan Buddhism and how Tibetan Buddhists deal with death. So the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Tibetan Book of the Living and Dead, that kind of philosophy. That's celestial dragon-ish. Celestial dragon. So the kinds of practices where you do meditations, on compassion, you do meditations on states of mind, you become a master of every level of your mind, and so that at the moment of death, when you expire, you can actually control where your consciousness goes to next, so that it can continue to evolve. And that's a really big word for the celestial dragon, and a really big word, it's more for the cobra really than the celestial dragon, but the word evolve. So the cobra is, more than any of the other animals, is compelled, drawn, driven for refinement, for evolution. Any kind of natural inclination that you have to become more refined in your perception can be a little bit of panther, but it can also have an element of cobra as well. And by refinement of perception, it can mean a lot of different things, and what my teacher used to say is, he would often quote, scripture and say, quote a passage from the Bible where, the blind shall see, the deaf shall hear, and it's not about physical seeing or hearing, it's about elevated sight, insight, psychic sight, elevated hearing, psychic hearing, and so on. Those kinds of abilities. So that's cobra. That's what the cobra is like. Um, and let's talk a little bit about, so leopard. So with leopard, actually I think we'll leave maybe leopard till tomorrow a little bit more. So today we'll focus a little bit more on cobra, and tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about leopard. So the reason why, and being into science and psychology, I sometimes am not quite settled on that kind of alternate perception. And so I've also worked at different interpretations of what refined perception can mean. And for me as a psychologist, it's the word psychic, not like energetic and karmic, but psychic as in psychological. And so it's interpreting the intention that a person has in terms of growing into the next phase of their life. What is it that their psyche needs in order to continue growing? And what's interesting about that is that that asking that question it sets you up for getting answers that are getting responses that are answered in terms of archetypes. It's getting answers that are symbolic. Kind of like the same way, the way that elements in your dreams are symbolic. It's poetic by nature, and it may not always be completely actionable, but you have a sense that it touches on something deep and central to the person's soul and being. So it is. So it's often profound, and even though you can't always act on it, sometimes the message from those kinds of insights is wait, be patient, don't react. So it's a kind of action where you don't do, but those kinds of insights speak to the essence of that person's spiritual journey in their current life. This is what Cobra is about. For me, it's a place of reverence. And so when I do the bow, I allow for that sense of sacredness, of reverence, to be expressed in how I breathe and in how I move. This is the Cobra. Okay, so let's do the Cobra. Let's do the Celestial Dragon Bow one more time, and taking a moment and feeling the connection to the energies, and feeling your nervous system attune to energy in a very deep and authentic way. So being honest with yourself, but also open. And so dropping down into the tailbone, into the throat, into the third eye, up over the top to the brainstem, form the hood of the cobra, strike, and then here around throat level, start the leopard bow. 1, 2, and then inhales, 1, 2 inhales, and then exhale, pressing out of the throat, and then bring the triangles to the tip of the tailbone. I inhale at the tailbone, and then I turn my legs in, I bring it up to my throat, I exhale, and I was just noticing, I turn my feet in, I bring my hands up to my third eye, I breathe in once, and then I exhale, and I send energy out from the third eye point through the triangle. So it's like a magnifying glass, or like, a satellite transmitter. And I exhale, And then I bring the triangle up to the crown of my head. I breathe in. And then again, exhale out through the crown of my head, through the triangle, like I'm sending a signal up into the cosmos. Exhale. So I think I've just done this so automatically for so long, I didn't think about it, but inhale at the tip of the tailbone, exhale at the throat, because I like communication, and then inhale, exhale, exhale. I don't think I made that clear earlier on, so I just wanted to clear that up. Okay. So it's all very fine and well to talk about refining your perception. How do you do that? So with the Cobra, the kind of exercise that it uses to develop and refine its perception, you may already be familiar with it. If you're here on this video, you probably are familiar with this, these kinds of practices. But the alternate nostril practices of pranayama, what's the other name for it? Anolam, Vino, Alomam. I always get the names mixed up. But alternate nostril practice, alternate nostril breathing. And so this has been a part of our practice since we began. And I know it's part of the yoga tradition more conventionally, but it's always been a part of our Kung Fu practice. And so I've just always thought of it as Kung Fu. And not that that's really important, but, just to talk about it. And I'll describe the exercise, and we can do it a little bit, and then you can do it on your own. The way that we practice it is it's a kind of breathing. It's called alternate nostril because you're breathing in a timed fashion, alternating through both nostrils. So in one nostril, hold the breath, out one nostril, keep the breath out. Inhale again back through that nostril, hold the breath, and then exhale out through the other nostril. And so you're alternating in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And you're using your fingers to help you with that. The usual timing for that is a basic 4 count. 4 counts, let's do the fingers first. So you bring your index finger and your middle finger down to the roots of the joints. It's kind of like Panther. And you're going to use your thumb and your ring finger and your pinky finger to block the nostril. You usually place the finger up where the cartilage encounters the bone of the nose, up in there. And it's kind of like a light pressure. You don't have to press too hard. If you're doing down here, like as if you're blocking a smell, Panther might do that. It's a bit more crude. Up here, there's some more nerve action that kicks in when you press up there lightly. And so you breathe in, and you have a regular count. So a regular count of 4 on the way in. Hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. And then keep the breath out for 4. And then inhale for 4. And so on. And when you breathe in, so if I breathe in, hold, exhale, keep it out, inhale, hold, exhale. That's 1 full cycle, and usually you do 7 full cycles. It doesn't take that long, but it's effectively, very powerfully effective in terms of calming you down. There's there's some really interesting studies that have been done with alternate nostril breathing. It turns out, yes, as the breath passes over the nostrils, it does stimulate the vagal nerves in both hemispheres. So you have a circadian rhythm. Your body naturally closes off one nostril versus the other throughout the day. So you're actually most of the time breathing in through one nostril. When you're forcing your breath through both nostrils, you're forcing both passageways to open up. And regardless, as air passes over a particular nasal passageway, it's going to stimulate the parasympathetic, the cranial nerves, the parasympathetic, your rest and digest nerves for that hemisphere as you inhale and then exhale. So as you're breathing in through both nostrils deliberately, you're stimulating both hemispheres. And it's not like one hemisphere is sleeping and you're waking it up. They're always moving. Of course, they're always functioning. They're always working together. But this sort of helps regulate, helps equalize and calm equalizes the function, and you're also just stimulating the parasympathetic rest and digest systems. So you're calming calming the activity. Calming activity is really important. I just see a comment coming up here. So it also releases NO into the mucous membranes. Very cool. What is this? Not nitrous oxide? Okay. That one I don't know. If that's the case, that's cool, yes. So the other really cool thing about meditation is that what it helps do a lot of things. And maybe I'll post up one of the lectures I gave on the neuroscience of meditation. But basically, one of the things that it does is it entrains neural firing. And entraining is basically a fancy way of saying gets everything to sync up. So if I have a whole bunch of people in a room and they're all like applauding at random times, and then I set the pace so that everybody claps at the same 4 count, I've entrained everybody's rhythm. And what meditation does is it does the same thing for neurons firing. And when neurons fire in the same sort of rhythm, then they are more efficient. When you're more efficient, you waste less fuel. And that's just great for the body in general. Whenever your body becomes more efficient and burns less to accomplish the same thing, that's great for longevity and tone. Also, when things fire together in synchrony, the thresholds that the nerves have to fire drops down. So in a sense, they become a little bit more sensitive without being, and that's the other thing, without being reactive. Because both, it's complicated in there. But basically, you drop the amount of information that needs to come in. A neuron, the threshold for a neuron drops, which means that it needs less information to come in order to make a decision about whether to fire or not. And on the one, you would think that would lead to being like reactive all the time, but because some neurons fire for action and other neurons fire for inhibition, and they're all working together, so too do the ones that inhibit and say, calm down and relax, wait, patient, be centered. Those ones also have a lower threshold. And so you end up being in more of an equilibrium instead of being reactive. And so all of that is playing into the alternate nostril breathing. This is the stuff that allows Cobra to do its thing without going crazy. So you have this alternate nostril breathing. You have the tempo. You have the breath, traveling through, stimulating and calibrating the hemispheres. And there's also a visualization. So you're drawing in energy, and you can imagine like a gold light, a little bit warm, and it comes over into the nostril, up over the top of the head, down the spine of the side of the nostril you inhaled into. It goes down your spine, down to the tip of the tailbone, and there there are options. Things are, you have choices. You can stop it at the tip of the tailbone and center your awareness there. And usually, traditionally, there's like a sense of spinning the energy around in a circle. And usually it's in this direction, so I'm going counter. What am I doing? If I was looking at the clock, If I was looking at my belly button, I'd be looking at it doing a clockwise rotation. So we're usually clockwise for males, counterclockwise for females, but do what feels good for you. And so it's at the tip of the tailbone and it's spinning as I hold my breath. So I inhale, it comes up into my nostril, over my skull, down my spine to my tailbone. I hold the breath, I spin the energy. I exhale, the energy comes up the other side of my spine, up over the head, out the other nostril. And then I keep it out for a 4 count. And then I bring it back in, up, over the head, into the tailbone, spin while I hold the breath. And then as I exhale, it goes up the other side of my spine, up and out the other nostril. So you're breathing, you're keeping that count, and you're visualizing the energy moving in that direction. It's a see-feel exercise. So in my mind's eye, I'm seeing the energy traveling, while in my mind's eye, I'm feeling what it feels like for that energy to travel down that part of the body. Yeah. So that's the exercise, and that's like a fundamental exercise. And as you do it, it's just it's really cool. It's really neat. If you haven't done this kind of like breathing exercise before in the past, it's really something worth exploring, at least to become acquainted with. Usually with people who have experience in this kind of internal work, they haven't really encountered this kind of like variation that we do usually. Like people are usually familiar with the breathing and the timing and the nostril and the finger action. And that's great, but they're not, and they just they're usually not acquainted with the visualization of energy. And that visualization adds something. And usually when you first start off, you visualize the energy as, you'll have a natural inclination. The energy that you'll visualize will have a particular width or a particular thickness or a particular color. And what happens is as you get a bit more adept at it, the line of energy becomes a little bit more refined, thinner. And that's one way in which you can develop, that's one way you can mark progression, is in how the visualization of the energy evolves for you. Where that, the visualization of energy also helps the development of that refinement of perception. So visualizing the energy makes you a little bit more open to perceiving or detecting it in your everyday world. So that's part of the practice. That's part of the reason why this alternate nostril breathing is part of the Cobra practice. Anything else on that? So let's see here. Let's just spend a few minutes doing the alternate nostril breathing. I'll do it with you. Let me just check to see the comments are okay. Nitric oxide, right? Okay, cool. All right. So this is not very dynamic. It doesn't make for great TV, but it's a good exercise. I'll just turn this down a little bit, I think. There we go. There we are. So I'll do this with you. So you can sit down, and you can have your other hand in the shape of one of the mudras. So this is another way that you can refine perception. Should we do Cobra? Let's do something simpler. Let's do Cobra, Tiger, Panther? Panther. Should we mix it up a little bit? Sure, let's mix it up a little bit. So you have your Panther mudra, and you curl in the 2 fingers here, and touch the first joint of the ring finger, and you just keep it down at the groin like it's near your pocket. You have your other hand almost in the same position, and we're going to use that to pinch off the nostrils and breathe. And before you start, tap into Panther. How does a panther see energy? How does the panther feel the energy? And yes, we're doing Cobra, but don't get hung up on that. Do the breathing as Panther, all right? And we're going to bring in the breath and bring it down to the tailbone, which is a center for the panther. So there's kind of like, a logistical, logical, consistency there. And feel, as you spin the energy, that it's empowering that panther center. So the tip of the tailbone, the way that I think about it, it's like that grounding prong on an electrical cord on a plug. And it's the connection, it's your grounding prong into the earth. That's one of the ways in which I feel it. And it's also my vestigial tail. So when I get energy buzzing around my tip of the tailbone, I'm deepening my connection to ancestry, to the evolutionary ancestry of my body. And that plug that goes into the earth, it's also, it grounds any kind of like intense perceptual experience I get, yes, but it's also like an antenna, and it plugs into the earth and it picks up information for the earth that the earth is giving me for my survival. So these are ways that Connie would talk about and taught us, but that I've evolved over time as well. This is how I tune into my panther when I do the alternate nostril breathing. I offer that, I invite you to explore that, and I'm sure that you'll come up with your own personal subjective experiences. But what's really cool is that in the alternate nostril breathing, you center, you quieten down, and it's in that quiet that those very personal, very subjective, but yet still very real experiences of your attention moving through its body becomes substantial to you. Okay? So you're breathing in, and I'm breathing in energy up over the top of my head. I'm feeling the dankness of panther bringing in like, it's a red light, it's panther. In, over down the spine, into the tip of the tailbone, and I'm feeling that vestigial pump and that grounding rod. I'm holding my breath, circulating the energy at the tip of the tailbone, and I exhale. Keep it out, and then inhale. Hold the breath, spin, exhale. Inhale, bringing in panther's grounded energy into the tip of the tailbone, circulating the energy. Exhale, send it up the other side of the spine, up over the top of the head. Breathing in, hold it in the tailbone, pinch, hold the breath, spin the energy. Again, to exhale. It's not just you doing the breathing, it's the panther within you breathing for you. It's the aspect of your panther that's guiding the breath, that's enjoying and gaining the benefit of the work, that's being charged up by it. And you're looking at that energy the way that a panther would look at it. You're looking at it from the point of view, you're looking at it with an eye to savor it. Like that light that you're bringing in is charged with like really juicy energy. With a vitality, it's like effervescent and pulsing and deep. And as it passes through you, you can feel like the breath is like water passing through the Grand Canyon. It's just marking the carving of time over eons. You're feeling your entire ancestry over millennia as your breath is passing through your body. So this is how the panther's perception is. This is how the panther does this breathing, and this is how you refine your perception. You're refining it in the context of panther. Okay. So you do several cycles, you finish, you relax. There's another form of nostril breathing, which is the double nostril breathing. And there you breathe in through both nostrils over at the same time. It goes down either side, both sides of the spinal column, the Inga and the Pingala, for those of you who are into yoga. On the inhale, it stays at the tip of the tailbone, you spin it around, and then as you exhale, it goes up the central channel, Sushumna, which is the center of the spine, and it comes up the center of the head and then out both nostrils. And you usually do the alternate nostril first, so it warms up the side channels, and then you do the double nostril, where you breathe in both nostrils at the same time, and then exhale up the central channel. And of course, this is the kind of stuff that Cobra loves. That kind of refined energy work is food for the cobra, and that's how you can cultivate cobra. Anything else? Yeah, okay, I think that's good. Let me just check the comments if there are any, besides like, Steven, you're crazy. All right, watching, hello Paula, Celestial Dragon, hello, nitrous oxide, great, awesome, great. Okay, so that's a lot. Let's just do the celestial bow one more time. And here we go. I think we'll do this a little bit a bit higher today. Here we go. Okay, great. There we are. So you can see more of my up here. And so let's do the celestial dragon bow one more time. So tip of the tailbone for cobra. Touch the throat. Third eye. Back of the brainstem. Form the hood. Strike, and then exhale, leopard, and turn the feet out, tip of the tailbone, triangle at the tip of the tailbone, exhale, throat, turn the feet open, triangle at the third eye, inhale, and then exhale. Then inhale, triangle at the crown, and exhale through the triangle at the crown. And standing. And feel what your body feels like. So it's a really great treat to do the alternate nostril breathing and then to do the bow. It's a very different experience, and I just highly recommend it. All right, let's do the boa bow one time together, well, 3 times together, and we'll close off with that. And dropping down. Inhale, exhale, and drop down. My boa is all cobra-y now. It's like, yeah, this is doing the cobra bow. This is doing the boa bow in cobra. It's like all drunk and teetering. And exhale, good. All right. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure and a delight to be doing these. Again, this is our day 26. Our last day is on Tuesday. And hey, I'm open to requests. We don't have to do another challenge. We could do like regular classes, and those would be a little bit different, maybe a little bit more workout-y, and maybe do forms. Let me know what you think. We'll finish our Celestial Dragon tomorrow, and then the remaining days, day 28, 29, and 30, the last 3 days, we'll do some additional like energy forms. There's the dolphin form, and there's a couple of what are called pumps. There's the feminine pumps in particular. But we might also just do a few more of the animal moves from some of the forms and play with them. Okay, so that's our day today. So thank you all the way from Santa Cruz, California at WBOA. This is your host, Stephen Macromella, and so I'll meet you tomorrow, 4:30. So usually our regular scheduled time of 4:30 Pacific Central Time, and here on this channel. All right, have a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye for now.